Hey up guys, I'm Mason. I'm a completely blind wrestling fan and this is my podcast, Wrestling in the Dark, and today I'm here with some predictions for WWE's Clash of Champions pay-per-view, which is set to take place this Sunday. And I'm going to jump right in talking about the Cruiserweight title match. It's Drew Gulak versus Humberto Carrillo and Lindsay Dorado. I don't particularly know what the story dictates really. I'm not a regular 205 Live viewer, never really found the time to invest into that corner of the universe. Hopefully I'll get to see that cruiserweight action a little bit more now that it seems that the cruiserweight title might become NXT's latest mid-card title, with all these rumours and speculation about 205 Live being folded into the NXT universe. But like I said, don't particularly know what the story dictates here, and I like what I've seen from Drew Gulak, so I'm going to say that he retains. Fire and Desire are going after Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross's women's tag titles. They said some pretty nasty stuff about Nikki Cross this last week on Smackdown, calling her ugly and making fun of how she looks. And whilst it's not the most devastating insult, it is underhanded and nasty. So I do think that Bliss and Cross will come out on top with this one. Some instant karma for Mandy Rose for talking trash that she can't back up, because that's who she seems to be. And I do think that this is just sort of a placeholder feud so that eventually Bliss and Cross can go into a program with Bayley and Banks, because I think they'll want to give those two horsewomen the tag titles back. They're the first champs and they seem to be going all in with the horsewomen at the minute. So I think that eventually that's what they'll transition into. It'll be Bliss and Cross versus Bayley and Banks. And to do that, Bliss and Cross have to retain. So that's what I'm going with. Roman Reigns versus Erick Rowan in the epic blow-off match to the Who attacked Roman Reigns storyline. It's been up and down and back and forth and round in circles, and at times it's been interesting and at times it's been fairly boring to keep up with, but at least this seems to be coming to an end. I think that this one, more than anything, could be one of the matches that I end up hating. I think that it'll probably be somewhere around a 4, but it just depends, because for some reason I've got this feeling with this match that the commentary is going to really let me down with this one. Lots of, oh, a big slam and Roman off the apron and oh, down goes Erick Rowan and all that sort of stuff. I've just got a feeling that that's what it's going to be. So I'm sort of not looking forward to it, but hopefully if they do a good job, this could be sort of a 4 out of 6 match. I think that Roman will go over because he's not had any big pay-per-view wins in recent memory, and they're going to want to reposition him as a key player soon. But I do think they've done a fairly good job of keeping him away from the titles for a little while, so when he does come back round to it, it's going to seem a lot more natural. What it means for Erick Rowan, I don't know. Possibly going and feuding with Daniel Bryan, especially if Bryan maybe turns face, because I don't think we've got that many really good faces, and it'd be good to see Bryan working face again. Having said that, I do like all of his crazy stuff, so I really don't know. I'm sort of out of fantasy booking ideas with this one, but I'm going to say that Roman wins. Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins defend the Raw Tag Team titles against Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. What a weird, random tag team that's just sort of sprung up out of nowhere. But should be a fairly interesting match, especially considering the ramifications it's got for the Universal Championship match later on in the night. I personally think that the OC are going to want a bit of payback for how stupid they made them look on Raw with the Stone Cold stuff, so I think they'll come down and get involved. And we all know that Seth Rollins is like immune to a distraction, so I think that Seth will eat the pin here, and that's why Braun could be all pissy and sort of extra aggressive in the Universal Championship match, like, yo, you lost us the titles. It puts that little bit of doubt in our minds as to whether Seth might lose to Braun. I just think it's the most clever decision. Not that Roode and Ziggler will stay champs for very long. I think that they're going to be all buddy-buddy with the OC, like, oh, yeah, thanks for helping us win. Are we in the club now? And AJ and that lot are going to be like, no, mate, you're not in the club. Get out of here because we're coming for those tag titles. And I think that Roode and Ziggler will just end up being transitional champs from Braun and Rollins back to the OC. Hopefully, because it was really really nice for that little short period where they had uh, all those belts. So yeah, I really do think that Roode and Ziggler will actually end up going over in this one, with Rollins eating the pin to sow some seeds of doubt for the. I was going to say main event, but I'm not sure whether it will be the main event, so later on in the night. Will The Miz beat Jericho's Intercontinental Championship record? That's the question with this next match as he takes on Shinsuke Nakamura. And I think I could see them doing it, but at the same time, they've got plenty of time with The Miz. He's not going anywhere. He doesn't seem to be winding things down or anything like that. So they've got, a year or two or a few to sort of do that. And I really think that Shinsuke really needs this momentum, especially with the fact that he's only just teamed up with Sami Zayn, and that's why I think that it'll end up being a Shinsuke Nakamura win. I think Sami Zayn will be yapping his mouth off on the outside, and then Miz will get distracted, and Shinsuke will hit a Kinshasa or two or three. Hopefully multiple. That'd be really cool to see Nakamura just absolutely pick Miz apart. It's been coming for a while, really, this strong style versus soft style thing, the seeds of which were laid by Daniel Bryan, and I just think that I really hope that Sammy does actually cost Miz, because then Miz can come back after Nakamura and they can have a bit more of a feud than they've had, because I'm a fan of both guys and I think that they could get some really cool promo segments out of Miz and Sammy, and some really cool moments with Nakamura being just extra vicious and picking the Miz apart, and it'd make Miz look really good as well as he tries to overcome the beating that he's getting from Nakamura. So yeah, Nakamura wins, I'm going to go with for this one. The Smackdown Live Tag Team Championships on the line, the New Day versus the Revival, and I think that the Revival will end up picking up the win on this one. I think that it sows the seeds of doubt for Kofi with his championship defence. It'll just add that extra layer of doubt, because you'll be like, oh wow, is Kofi all distracted because his mates have lost and possibly gotten beaten up by the Revival, especially if the Revival win and then they just have one of those epic beatdowns afterwards and hit them with shatter machines through the table or something like that, and it just means that they can really pile on the underdog with Kofi and make it look like he's just in despair and not in control, and when he eventually ends up beating Randy Orton, if that's what he does, then it'll have made him look extra good because there's just those extra roadblocks in his path. So I think the Revival will get this one, and it's about time to see them hold a bit of gold and actually do something with it, because I know that they won the Raw tags a couple of months back, I think, but nothing really came of it. Hopefully they can give them the SmackDown Live tags and actually send them to do something with it. So Randy Orton's little new best friends, the Revival, go over here. Bayley taking on the most selfish person on the WWE roster, Charlotte Flair. This one, again, I think could set up some story going forward. So I'm going to go with Bayley winning on this one. There's a couple of different ways we could go with how this pay-per-view will end up, because we could see a situation where Bayley retains and Sasha wins and they both come out looking strong, or Bayley could retain here and Sasha doesn't get it done, and that sows the seeds for Bayley maybe becoming a little bit big for her boots when it comes to Sasha. Not that Sasha will end up turning face, but Bayley and Sasha might end up going their separate ways, because Bayley is getting way too much ego and thinks that she's even better than Banks. But I'm not sure. But either way, I think that Bayley will retain. I don't think that there's a situation where Charlotte walks out with that SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Hopefully not, anyway, because I don't really want to see it. We've seen Charlotte as the champ way too many times. Bayley and Banks are this new team, this new revitalised heel act, and they really need some momentum, so I'm going to go with Bayley retaining. Kofi Kingston defending his WWE Championship against Randy Orton. So yeah, this one is just this big blow off between Randy and Kofi, with playing back on their history, etc., etc., and they've been going down the route of Kofi getting extra mad and wearing his heart on his sleeve, and Randy thinking that he's pulling his strings. Again, New Day have lost earlier on in the night. Can he get it together? Can he get past the own mental roadblocks that might be getting put up, etc., etc.? So I think that I just don't think it's the moment yet. Like, I think that with all championships, there come a moment where it's like, yes, this is the time for him to lose it, and this isn't that, because this is Randy coming back as one of Kofi's early challenges, one of Kofi's early problems that he had in his career, and he's a different guy now, and he's got to prove how much he's changed, how much better he was than back then. Don't think he'll end up earning Randy's respect, but that one would be a really cool one if Kofi won and Randy actually shook his hand and was like, okay, you've proved it, you are the guy, you've changed and come a long way. But either way, I think that this is just one of those big roadblocks that Kofi's got to go over before he gets to the person who will end up beating him probably eventually. Yeah, like I say, I just don't think it's time with Randy Orton. I don't think they've hit that moment where it'll be like, oh, that was a good reign. I feel like there's still more in the tank for Kofi, so I think he'll go over. Seth Rollins defends the Universal Championship against Braun Strowman. This one should be pretty good. I think we've seen some Seth and Braun matches in the past that have been really good, especially back in the day when they were doing the whole Braun is just absolutely unstoppable thing. Seth was one of the people that actually managed to get some decent offense in. Now, like I said, I think that Seth will have eaten the pin earlier on in the night, costing them the Raw Tag titles, and then because of that, Braun's going to come into this being extra aggressive and super mad, and Seth's going to have to weather the storm. But again, with what I was saying, I don't think it's the time. It's unfortunate because at some point they are going to have to pull the Universal Championship trigger when it comes to Braun Strowman, or at least a world title like the WWE Championship. He needs a world title at some point, but with the rumours of Bray Wyatt or the Fiend getting involved in the near future, and Seth's really only just got it back from Brock and still hasn't really done anything really impactful or important. I just don't think it's time for him to lose it yet, which is, like I say, it's just unfortunate because Braun gets this close every time. He gets so close and then comes up short, and it always does him damage. He always gets this momentum and people are like, yes, yes, now's the time, now's the time, and then afterwards he just goes back down to being sort of unimportant, and people are like, oh, whatever, he didn't win. And I think that's probably going to end up happening again, unfortunately. So hopefully they actually pull the trigger on the Fiend thing and the Fiend comes down and just wipes them both out so that neither man has to take the loss here. Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch for that Raw Women's Championship. Really, really actually looking forward to this one. I'd like that they're going all in on this four horsewoman stuff, and unfortunately for Becky, I do think that moment has come. She's had quite a long run, like basically since WrestleMania now, I think, and I just think that it's time. Sasha's only just come back. She's newly heel. She's got this new attitude, and it's gonna really do good things for her if she manages to pick up the championship here, and then her and Bayley can go as the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships to try and take the tag champs as well. And I just I just think that that's a way more interesting one than Becky, because it's like, if Becky wins, who else has she got to take on? Who have they got that's a decent feud? Whereas in Sasha, if she wins, they've got all these renewed, revitalised feuds that they can do, challenges challenges that she hasn't faced, matches that we haven't had. So yeah, I think that it's time for Sasha Banks to win. And I never really thought that I'd back Sasha Banks in a race, because I'm not a particularly huge Sasha Banks fan, but I actually do hope that she comes out of this with the Raw Women's Championship. So those were my predictions for Clash of Champions. If you agree with me, or if you don't, let me know in the comments section. I had no challenges for this predictions contest. Everyone's run off with the tail between the legs. Now that I'm the now that I'm the WITD champion, everyone's run off. Glenn's not come back for more. Just Dan hasn't come back for more. And Gustavo Gama, where are you? I'd have thought that you'd have been coming back for this, but obviously you were just too scared by how great I was in the last set of predictions, and you didn't come back. So it's not on the line this time, and we'll just have to put up with the fact that no one is man enough to come and take me up. If you've liked this episode, you know what to do. Something as simple as clicking the like button makes me feel good. If you want your say, you can do so in the comments section, on Twitter at Mason_WITD, or on my Discord. There's just plenty of ways that you can do it. And if you want to know what Clash of Champions was like for a blind person, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss my review come Monday. Right guys, I'm off, and you should have a good one.